I'm Lena Kennedy. Welcome to Sweet Talk Around the Sugar Pot. We have a very interesting guest here today with us. It is Nicole from Gillian's place. She's the Community Development Manager. Did I get that right, Nicole?
Sure did.
That's great because it's a big title for a very big responsibility. Gillian's place is a shelter home for abused women, children. It's not for me to talk about because that's why we invited her. She has a lot of information to share with us and also to help dispel some myths and things like that, right? So the whole purpose of this show is just
be kind to humankind.
Be kind to humankind. Exactly. Well said. Well said. So Nicole, please, share with us what we need to understand more.
Sure. Well, I'm so glad that you invited me to come and talk to you today because one of the most important things for us is to talk about it, right? Because violence breeds in silence. So the more that we talk about it, the more awareness we can bring to the issue, the more that we can work toward our vision, which is to end abuse for women and children. We are, as you said, a shelter. We are a 35-bed shelter here in St. Catharines. But we're so much more than that. So the shelter does kind of remain the cornerstone of our organization, but we offer so many more services to women because not everybody needs a roof over their head. A lot of women just need support as they're transitioning out of an abusive situation.
You were sharing earlier how you went from a small home location to this big 35-room location, which means you can house more. At one point you're like, this is great, we get to expand, this place is super that we have. And you saw on Facebook, what did you see?
Twitter.
On Twitter, the upgrades and everything that they've done. And when you hear that, you go, oh, that's great. But at the same time, it's like,
sad because that many people need
It's
the
not
help.
great. It is great because there is so much need for it.
Yeah.
So there's no shame in being happy that you can provide what you provide. For as many people as you provide, you could probably use another one.
Yeah.
And that's a sad
the fact
part.
that it still goes on.
How long have you been at Gillian's?
Yeah, so I was just going to say, how long have I been there?
Yeah,
I've been there for 7 years.
7 years.
But the organization is almost 40 years old. I think that, and in my personal opinion, the bigger we get, it wouldn't matter. We would still be full because we're at capacity.
That's a sad thing.
Yeah.
The bigger we get, it still isn't enough. What in God's name is going on? Really?
The thing is, we're reactive, right? So we are providing support and service to women once the abuse has already happened, right? And so what we want to happen is to get enough awareness and educate people enough so that it's not happening in the first place. And so that's a really important thing for us right now, and a direction that we're taking is to educate especially young men and women before they're getting into relationships so they can understand what a healthy relationship is supposed to look like, and they can understand what the warning signs are of abuse and really understand how to live without violence in their lives and how to respond to situations in a positive way, rather than with violence. So until we're able to do that, until we're able to prevent abuse, we're never going to eradicate it. It's going to just keep happening. It's a cycle. Right. And we need to put an end to it because we're seeing a lot of times too, different women coming to the shelter, same abuser, different women.
Do you really, don't be angry. I like to ask questions because I like the communication to be very open. Do you really think everything we're doing, everything we try to do can ever, as you said, really eradicate violence like that? Do you really think? I mean, it's been around since the beginning. No excuses for it, but it's been around since forever. I think the best we can do maybe is educate our children.
Yeah.
It has to start with the children.
Yeah.
Right? We all know it starts with your home.
Yeah. And I think there is some opportunity with abusive men as well because it's a behavior that they've learned. And people can change. I mean, it is possible. And right now, we're not doing any work with abusive men. And so I think that that's important, too, because some men want to. They want to get help and they want to change, but the help isn't available for them. And a lot of, oftentimes, women, they're coming to us, but they don't because they need help. They don't want to be abused. They don't want to experience violence, but they don't necessarily want to end their relationship. They have a family. Yeah. And, a lot of times that's why women stay, but they shouldn't have to stay in that abusive relationship.
Is there a connection between like the Hulk syndrome, you know, where there's a disconnect in the brain from kindness to anger, like a switch, or between alcoholism and drugs, or is there things that are typical, or it's random?
No.
And what causes the randomness of this, you know?
It's everybody, and people will say that sometimes, like, he only hits me when he drinks. So certainly drugs and alcohol can exacerbate violence or, exacerbate a situation, but they're not what makes somebody abusive or violent, because domestic violence in particular is about power and control.
Voilà.
And so, it's a system of power and control, right? So you can't blame alcoholism or drug abuse on...
I'm not trying to blame.
No, I know you're not, but you're asking, like,
I grew up with an alcoholic, so I know all about that side of life. But no, I just mean, like, is there
I think it minimizes their connection.
Yeah, yeah. But it's not, you're saying,
because
it could be somebody you think is like as sweet as pie.
And you hear that oftentimes. Yes. You hear that a lot. Or women aren't believed, right?
Thing, like the disconnect in the brain. Or...
Yeah. And the scary thing is the most dangerous time for a woman is after she's left, right? Because at that point, the abuser feels like they have nothing left to lose.
They have no
that
control.
can be the most frightening time. So we have a family law lawyer on staff. We are the only shelter in Ontario that does, as far as we know, in all of Canada. So that's a really important program for us, especially for women who are just thinking about leaving a violent situation. And that's actually a really important thing to note as well, is that women don't have to have left their situation. They don't need to come and stay with us. Even if they're just thinking about it and looking for advice, they can still access all of our services.
There's more services that we didn't even think of. That was like my eye-opener, that you can come before it gets to that point, and you can access multiple services, not just a shelter.
So you don't encourage, your facility doesn't encourage them to leave. It encourages them to get information to perhaps prepare, but to be aware of what is accessible to them.
All their options are available.
Because it must be a scary, scary step.
The other one is they don't always leave. Maybe counseling can work, and they can salvage it. That's good to know, because I wouldn't think that was even an option on the table. So,
but we're there to support a woman in making their own decisions.
That's their decision, like you said, when they're ready.
Options and decisions.
Yeah, there are a lot of things to consider, and that's why our legal program is so important, because we can alleviate a lot of women's fears about losing their children or not having money to support themselves. We have a transitional program which helps women with anything that they need into transitioning into an abuse-free life.
If they haven't been in the workforce for a long time, a lot of people don't leave because they don't know, they don't think they can work.
Yep, school, or helping them find employment, helping them access other services like Ontario Works. And then we have our child and youth programs. So, when women are coming to our shelter with their children, and not every woman has children. That's actually kind of been a misconception, that we only have women in our shelter who have children, but absolutely not. Any woman over the age of 16 with her children or on her own. But children, they've experienced trauma as well, and so it's important for them to deal with the abuse that they've witnessed, because studies show that it's just as damaging as if they were to have experienced the abuse themselves. So it's important for us to work with the children and help them deal with that as well. And all of these services are available whether you live a day in our shelter or not. They are completely free, completely confidential, and again, available to any woman over the age of 16 who identifies as a woman. And then we do education. We have conversations like this, and we do go into schools, we go to community groups, employers, and talk about it as much as we possibly can. So if you are part of a business or part of a service club, you're a teacher, please invite us to come out, and we love to talk about this as much as we can and educate our community as much as we can, so that we can prevent.
That's really good
violence.
information, because we always ask how you can get involved.
Thank you. It's people like you and everyone else you work with, and the community that comes together. And I just want to let everybody know that this is from our heart. This is why we sponsor. This is why it's our company's choice of charity, is to be involved with the community and help where we can. And we also support Haven's House in Buffalo, New York for the same things because it's, we have our offices on both sides. If there's no shelter somewhere, then we're hoping that people like you will come together in their community and start forming. Because like you said, the minute you form, it's full. That's the scary part, but it shows you just how much we need lovely people like Nicole. Thank you so much for joining us today. Thank you.
Check out our social media and our links below. You can follow us to get all the information on our houses that we support and AP's involvement in getting involved in your own community.
I'm personally excited about this next topic question. So the question is, Lena, would you ever be seen on camera without makeup? I've seen it. It's not a big deal to me.
Oh,
but she's beautiful no matter what. You have to be comfortable in your skin. And I think that's something we're going to be talking about.
And that's what you'll find out next
time.
Episode. Be comfortable in your skin.
We heard you're going on your first real vacation this summer.
I am taking a cruise.
What's the deal?
I'm taking a cruise all by myself. To be honest, last night, I swear to God, when I woke up about 12:30, my heart's a little bit, I'm going, shit. I can't swim already. So I actually started, what's gonna happen when I'm on
worried
there?
about the tan.
But no. The worst thing about the tan is that I gotta get a spray tan because I'm so white. I'm gonna be whiter when I'm coming home than when I get there because the spray tan's gonna wash off, right? And I don't tan. Anyway, you all know I can't swim, so I'm really paranoid. So I'm gonna be wearing a vest, a good life vest over my gown every day, period.